Good day, everyone. It's me again, Teacher MD. In this video, we will talk about writing expanded or extended definitions. This topic is based on MELC 21, that is, give expanded definitions of words. Definition helps readers arrive at a basic understanding of concepts or ideas in essays or reports. We define terms to ensure that the reader understands the information that we present. Now, look at the samples. We have the terms caucus, veto, suffrage, and ballot. Are you familiar with all of them? Do you know what each term means? Well, these terms are basically used in the field of politics. They are not like the other words which we use or hear every day. Hence, they are all technical words. Technical words are words with specific meanings in each area of study. Sometimes we use technical words o yung mga salitang may partikular na meaning sa specific field, like the four examples that I presented a while ago. O kaya naman abstract concepts o yung mga ideya lang na hindi tangible o nahahawakan, tulad ng contentment, love, at moral. And because they are neither common nor easy to understand, it is your duty as a writer to define or explain them. And that's why we have what we call as expanded or extended definition. Ito yung hindi lang basta pagbibigay ng synonym ng word o pagbibigay ng halimbawa. There are several techniques in writing expanded definitions. For an instance, if you will write a paper, report, or essay about the national election, you may write an expanded definition first of the word suffrage. Kailangan mong ipaliwanag kung ano ba ang karapatang ito, sino-sino ba ang may karapatan dito, at ano ba ang benepisyong dulot nito. Expanded or extended definition is commonly used in formal papers or academic essays to ensure that misunderstanding or miscommunication will not happen. Sumusulat tayo nito upang maiwas ang mambabasa sa maling pagkaunawa ng impormasyong nais nating ihatid. Again, there are words with several meanings, so it will be definitely helpful to write expanded definitions. Probably you're asking yourself now, How am I going to write expanded definitions? Pwede bang mag-search na lang ako? Pwede bang sarili ko lang opinion? Let us first differentiate formal and informal definitions. A formal definition consists of three parts: the term being defined, the class it belongs to, and its distinguishing characteristics. What is the term being defined in the sample sentences that you have? Yes, sense of humor. Then, what do we mean by class? Saang category ba kabilang yung word? In this case, sense of humor ay isang abilidad, or should I say is the ability. Then you have to distinguish what ability are you talking about. It is to laugh and make others laugh. And that will be the distinguishing characteristics. And now you will have the formal definition. Sense of humor is the ability to laugh and make others laugh. How about an informal definition? An informal definition explains an unfamiliar term using synonyms or antonyms introduced by or, in other words, or like. Take note of how the term sense of humor was defined. Sense of humor means to appreciate a joke or to perceive humor. Going back with the expanded definition, the first step is to write a formal sentence definition. Then, place it at the beginning of your expanded definition to maintain focus. And step 3, consider using questions or frameworks and techniques. So these are the questions that may serve as your framework. First, how does it work? Second, what are its parts? Third, what does it do? Fourth, can it be compared to anything familiar? Fifth, how is it used? And last one, what is its origin and background? Meanwhile, there are techniques that you can use in answering the aforementioned questions. Paalala lang, ang technique na inyong gagamitin ay depende kung angkop ba sa word or term na inyong ide-define at i-explain. Technique number 1, etymology or share a word's origin. For example, arbitration is from the Latin word arbitrary, meaning to judge. Kailangan mong mag-research kung gagamitin mo ang technique na ito upang malaman ang pinagmulan ng isang salita. Take note of the phrase Latin word. Ito ang pinagmulan ng salitang arbitration at originally ang meaning nito ay to judge. This technique usually uses words like from the Latin word, from Old French, from Greek words, and the like. Another example is politic is from Old French politique, which means political. Technique number 2, historical references or background. If relevant, discuss the history of the term or its use and controversies associated with it. Huwag malito sapagkat iba ito sa etymology. Sa teknik na ito ay kailangan mong ipaliwanag kung anong history, sanhi o impluensya sa pagkakabuo o nakadikit sa salitang iyong i-define. See the example. Discuss how the use of arbitration as third-party mediation dates from the 1630s and how the practice came about. Technique number 3, cause and effect. Discuss how the situation came about and what effects it may have. For example, in the case of arbitration, cause and effect may be the same as the history. Number 4, description. First, listing and defining the component parts, or you have to list and define the component parts. Identify smaller, more familiar pieces of an idea to the definition of the bigger concept. And use a word that creates a picture in the reader's mind so that the reader might relate through memory of sound, sight, touch, hearing, or smell. Kailangan mong isimplify o ilarawan ang salita na iyong i-define at maaari kang gumamit ng mga salita na makatutulong sa mambabasa upang ma-imagine o mag-create sa isip nila kung ano ang iyong sinasabi. For example, arbitration is conducted by a trained arbiter who sets down the rules that the parties must abide by. Technique number 5, principles of operation. You have to discuss how topic in question functions, including any special materials or conditions required. Ang teknik na ito ay karaniwang nakikita sa user's manual o instructions. So kung paano ba nag-ooperate yung term na iyong dinidefine. Number 6, classification. Show how the topic fits into a larger category. Look at the example. Arbitration is one of the alternatives to going into a formal court to settle disputes. To what category does it belong? That's right, it is one of the alternatives. So now you are classifying the term arbitration. Technique number 7, contrast or negation. Define a term by explaining what the concept is not. Show how the topic differs from others in the same class. For example, in an arbitration proceeding, no lawyers are present. Take note of the use of the word no to point out what the concept is not. Number 8, comparison. Show how the topic is similar to others in class. Ipakita mo ang pagkakatulad ng term sa isang konsepto, tulad ng sa pangungusap na, as with lawsuits or other court proceedings, the decision in our arbitration proceeding is legally binding on the parties. Kinumpara ang arbitration sa iba pang lawsuits at other court proceedings, na ang decision sa arbitration ay legally binding tulad ng ibang court proceedings. Technique number 9, analogy. Explain by comparing two dissimilar topics where the second is familiar to the audience. In a given sentence, the term arbiter is compared to referee. Since familiar tayo sa kung ano ang referee, ay magkakaroon tayo ng ideya kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng arbiter. Number 10, examples or anecdotes. Telling a story or example that illustrates the term. Using this technique will help the readers fully understand what the concept is. Ang pagbanggit ng senaryo kung kailan o saan nagagamit ang isang term ay mas makakatutulong sa mambabasa na maunawaan ng isang salita. For example, arbitration was recently used to settle the dispute between the labor union and management. So this is the scenario cited in order to explain what arbitration is. You can also provide examples. For an instance, if the term is political party, you can write, political party is an organization that coordinates candidates to compete, like PDP Laban, Liberal Party, Nationalista Party, National Unity Party, and Nationalist People's Coalition. Through this, the readers will understand the concept better. Lastly, number 11, illustrations. Provide a picture or image that is used to clarify a text. This is helpful for readers who are visual readers o yung mas nauunawaan ang binabasa kung mayroong illustration o drawing na kaakibat. And there we have the 11 techniques: etymology, historical references or background, cause and effect, description, principles of operation, classification, contrast or negation, comparison, analogy, examples or anecdotes, and illustrations. Indeed, one-sentence definitions are not enough to express your views on a specific term or concept. That's why it is important that when you develop your angle in expanded definitions, keep in mind to think about the concept's background, features, characteristics, and parts with due considerations to the techniques or approaches in order to define the term adequately. Expanded definition goes deeper than a simple dictionary definition, offering an expanded analysis and illustration of a concept that might be abstract, debatable, controversial, unfamiliar, or frequently misunderstood. Giving an expanded definition is distinguishing the characteristics of a certain word, providing extra facts or information about it, giving examples, and saying what cannot be included to describe it. So ito ang mga dapat tandaan sa pagsulat ng expanded definition. Now, let me explain the learning task 2 in our LEAP or Learner's Packet. So you have to determine the technique used in each statement. So the choices are negation, historical reference, examples, description, and etymology. So for example, sentence number 1. To our colonial forefathers, freedom meant achieving independence from foreign powers. So what technique is used in this statement? Is it negation, historical reference, example, description, or etymology? Again, to our colonial forefathers, freedom meant achieving independence from foreign powers. Next, freedom, Old English freedom, power of self-determination. So what technique is used in here? Is it negation, historical reference, example, description, or etymology? How about in number 3? Since the Philippines won the right to rule itself, our country has been referred to as land of bondage, land of the free, by the late statesman Raul Manglapus. So what technique is used in this statement? Is it negation, historical reference, example, description, or etymology? Next, number 4. True freedom means the ability to think, feel, say, or act however one chooses. So what technique is used here to describe or to explain freedom? Is it negation, historical reference, example, description, or etymology? And finally, it is a state where the bars of bondage do not exist. Unfortunately, there is still the humankind's continuing struggle for freedom, as the widening gap between the haves and have-nots is evident in terms of equal educational opportunities. Again, it is a state where the bars of bondage do not exist. Unfortunately, there is still the humankind's continuing struggle for freedom, as the widening gap between the haves and have nots is evident in terms of equal educational opportunities. So, what technique is used in here? Is it negation, historical reference, example, description, or etymology? How about learning task 4? So, we have 5 sets, and you just have to choose only one and study the words in the set. So for example, in set 1, we have bayanihan, halo-halo, pahiyas, jeepney, and lambanog. For set 2, we have web browser, reboot, virus, and bandwidth. And for set 3, economic recession, liabilities, and mortgage. And for set 4, we have comorbidities, stem cells, botulism, dyslexia, COVID-19, Alzheimer's disease, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD, and sickle cell anemia. And for the last set, we have peace of mind, home, family, mental health, success, beauty, happiness, courage, leadership, maturity, and goals. Then, find out the various details like distinguishing characteristics, extra facts or information, synonyms, examples, or anecdotes about your chosen topic. Make sure to use the techniques that I explained a while ago. So kung ang napili mo ay set A, kailangan mong sumulat ng expanded definition ng words na nilalaman ng set na iyong napili. Again, isang set lang ang dapat mong piliin. And that's it. You just need to read and practice and soon you'll be able to master writing expanded definitions. Kung mayroon kang katanungan tungkol sa ating topic, maaari kang mag-comment sa comment section ng aking channel. Thanks for watching. Once again, I'm Teacher MD. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Till next time!